Hello Holley Beach, this is Doug Pollard over here on Cedar Trail. I've got an old white dog, part Walker Hound and part Labrador Retriever that I walk every day, 7 days a week, every afternoon. And I do this because of the leash law. Originally I was against the leash law, but I've since changed my mind about it. I think it probably was what was needed. Old Lucky, my daughter Tina, whose home I live in, found him out in the middle of the highway, slammed on the brakes, jumped out of the car, stopped all the traffic, and ran out there and picked him up as a tiny little puppy and put him in the front seat of the car and took him to work with her, where all the women just smothered him in love. Brought him home and come back here a few years ago. And Tina was having a time with her dog. He had to go to work every day, so she put him in the backyard. He'd bark at everything coming up and down the road. The next door neighbor fussed, and she went to court a few times over it. When I moved down here, I started letting him out in the front yard and kind of keeping an eye on him, make sure he didn't wander too far. And he was a happier dog. Well, you know, dogs descended from wolves need to wander and get around because that's what dogs do. Early dogs, probably 6,000 to 50,000 years ago, were wolves. They were attracted to the little villages in the woods and the ones out in the prairie lands, and because there was food thrown out and it was human poop, which had nutrition, and they ate that too. But they were attracted to people. But wolves can't bark, they only howl. Well, dogs listen to people talking and developed slowly over time. Being the emulators that they are, they learned to bark as the closest thing they could come to as talking. We've come to think of it as a nuisance, and it's a shame because had it not been for dogs, human progress would have been held back probably thousands of years because of the lack of protection and knowledge of what was going on around us, that the dog with his big nose and his ability to hear and bark and let us know that we were under attack. I think with the leash law, we have a duty to our dogs, and that is to take them out and walk them every day, or at least as often as you can. Because dogs need that. That's who they are. That's what they are, going into the woods and chasing a rabbit or a squirrel or whatever. With their strong nose, they smell everything. I think that people who do not walk their dogs since they can't run loose are not being fair to the dog. I think it's an unkindness. The other thing, I've heard some mothers say that they're worried about the children getting bit. That's a real possibility because some people don't take good care of their dogs. They're mean to them. They mistreat them in some way. They tie them to a tree, or they lock them up in a yard. They don't walk them. They don't get them out so they get to know their neighbors. So the dogs get mean. But you know, any dog that is properly cared for, properly treated, will not bite to the bone a child. You know, dogs are raised up by their mothers who nip them to teach them a lesson, but they don't bite them. And dogs won't bite a child unless they have been taught that. Men who are excluded from their community, from society, often go out and shoot other people. It happens all the time. Dogs who are excluded from their neighborhood, the people in their neighborhood, sometimes bite.